Thank you for joining us and welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Olumide Macaulay. On the program today, INEC issues certificate of return to Uche Oga as governor of Abia State, just as the National Assembly Election Petition Tribunal upholds election of former Senate President David Mark of the PDP. Governor Tanko Almakura tasked Inspector General of Police on new policies for securing states across the Federation. And Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode inaugurates Independent Electoral Commission, insisting on fairness. We start in the southeastern part of the country and we begin with politics. There just may be a change of guard at the Abia State Government House as the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has issued a certificate of return to Mr. Uche Oga as the governor of Abia State. The decision of the electoral umpire comes after the order of an Abuja High Court which ruled that Mr. Oga, who came second in the People's Democratic Party primaries, be issued a certificate of return. INEC's Director of Publicity and Voter Education, Mr. Oluwole Osaze Uzi, told Channels Television that the event of the issuance happened earlier today in Abuja. The presiding judge in the suit, Justice Okon Abang, had upheld the argument of Mr. Oga, who contended that Mr. Okeze Ikpeazu evaded tax prior to his election and as such was not qualified to hold an elective office. The court then ordered that Mr. Oga be issued a certificate of return. Mr. Oga came second at the PDP governorship primary with a total number of votes of 103 to trail Mr. Ikpeazu, who scored 487 votes. The National Assembly Election Petition Tribunal has also upheld the election of former Senate President Senator David Mark of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. In its ruling today, the tribunal struck out the petition filed by the APC's candidate in Benue senatorial poll, Mr. Daniel Onje. The former Senate President had asked the tribunal to dismiss Mr. Onje's petition for filing outside the 21 days required by law.
The tribunal interpreted is the express provision of Section 285 sub 5 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, which expressly provides that the petitioner shall have 21 days after the date of the declaration of the results to file his petition. In the tribunal's infinite wisdom, they had interpreted that to mean that the dates of the declaration expressly excluded by the Constitution should be included in the computation of time. That is the ruling of the tribunal. And that is on that basis they had come to the conclusion that the petition was filed 1 day after the 21 days allowed by the law. Definitely, we will go on appeal.
Well, on February 20th, the entire Doma nation made a statement. And the statement is that David Mark remains our undisputable leader. He's the leader of the entire Doma nation. And we spoke, the entire Doma nation came together as an entity, made that mark on the 28th of February. And so the Idoma Vanguard is an integral part of the Idoma nation. So we give thanks to the Almighty God.
Now, for more on this situation, I'm now joined on News Across Nigeria by our political correspondent, Shehu Okimbaloye. Shehu, it's good to see you again.
Thank you so much, Olumide.
Let's begin with Abia State. We know that the certificate of return was supposed to have been issued to Mr. Oga, but there was the appeal that was spoken of by the Abia State government. What was supposed to happen in between this and that?
All right. I mean, usually what happens is when there is a court judgment, and usually the person who is affected by the judgment sometimes go for an appeal on that case in a
That's
higher
my
court.
point exactly.
So when you go for an appeal in a higher court, you file for an appeal. That's the kind of thing that the governor, Ekpeazu.
Do we know whether Mr. Ekpeazu had already filed the appeal?
It's told the public that he's going to file for an appeal. And so that's what the information we got from yesterday, that is going to is filed for an appeal. But usually what happens is that when you file an appeal, you inform the judge who will make the judgment that, look, I filed for an appeal, and the notice of appeal will probably serve a stay of execution on the judgment that was earlier served by a lower court. So invariably it means that either or not, we do not know the details of what Governor Ekpeazu has done in the case of filing for an appeal. But what the courts of the High Court has done, through Justice Okonabang, the Federal High Court in Abuja, simply says that, look, discard the certificate of return earlier given to Governor Ekpeazu and issue another certificate of return based on the issue of tax, which Governor Ekpeazu has said, look, as I was a government official for so amount of time, my tax were deducted from the source. But all of these are just issues based on argument in the court that we will see in the coming days.
For Mr. Oga to be sworn in, does that mean the Attorney General of the state has to swear,
the chief judge
of the state
will be the person
has to swear Mr. Oga in?
That's exactly what we should be expecting. It's been issued a certificate of return by INEC, the umpire, which means it neutralizes the certificate of return that was earlier issued to Governor Ekpeazu. You remember that Mr. Alex Oti, a former group general manager of Diamond Bank, who contested against on the platform of ABGA, contested up to the point of Supreme Court, and Governor Ekpeazu won that case. And this time around, we're seeing this not outside, from the inside, challenging one of the requisites for Governor Ekpeazu emerging as a candidate. You will know that Governor Ekpeazu scored over 400 votes, with just slightly over 100 votes scored by Mr. Uche Oga. But what is standing right now is the fact that INEC has acted on what the Federal High Court, the judgment or the order of the Federal High Court. And until we do not know if INEC has been served a notice of appeal, if they have not been served a notice of appeal, they may be on the right track by giving the certificate of return.
What do you think will happen finally concerning Abia State, concerning the politics and the governance? This is definitely a wrench in the works of Mr. Ekpeazu, who is just settling in to govern.
I mean, it challenges the legitimacy of him being the governor right now. There's going to be some level of confusion in the state as to who is the governor now, because until now, we now have a clearance legally. Mr. Uche Oga is going to be governor if he's sworn in. But Governor Ekpeazu is until he's sworn in. But because the certificate of return that is with Governor Ekpeazu has been neutralized by the action of INEC today, based on the judgment of Justice Okonabang of the Federal High Court in Abuja, saying that give Uche Oga another certificate of return. So what it interprets now is that there will be some level of confusion in the politics of Abia, especially in the PDP.
Yes.
You know,
we're keeping our eye on that story.
Definitely.
Obviously, it'll be interesting to see what the next development will be and the move that the Ekpeazu administration
a hot
will
legal
make.
battle.
Yes.
Yeah.
As far as Benue State is concerned, and former Senate President David Mark and Mr. Onje, what are the salient issues?
Yeah, I mean, simple. The fact that you know, former Senate President, he's strong on the ground. You know the kind of person he is. This is another young man who has challenged him, and he's going to be. He has said that he's going to appeal this case in the tribunal. He's going to challenge his emergence, and the case. One of the things that Senator David Mark is challenging is asking the court to trash that case because of the fact that Mr. Onje he said that he brought the case later than the
21
stipulated
days.
time
And
that he's supposed to file that
that's
case.
the law.
So you know, but the higher court is there, and he's allowed to take his grievances or to appeal that case, and we'll see how that pans out.
Probably another case of appeal.
Possibly, definitely.
Thank you very much, Shehu
Thank you so
Okinbaloye,
much,
our political correspondent. You're watching News Across Nigeria. When we come back, there's still a lot of dialogue, consultation, and discussion on whether the government should go with the ranches or with the grazing reserves for the herdsmen to forestall clashes between them and the farmers. Please stay with us.